Good morning,
sir.
everyone.
Yes, good morning.
Kindly mute yourself with the exception of the guest presenter. You mute your microphone and we follow the Zoom ethics as usual. I would like to thank each and every one of you again for joining us for another stimulating intellectual discourse on Blacks in Britain. Our guest presenter is a distinguished professor of history at the university in the United States. Before I introduce him, I just want to say one or two things. In recent times, you've been having this issue of Black Lives Matters. And as a result of the unfortunate incident in Minneapolis, we've also been talking about migration in another dimension. But the dimension which this Black Lives Matters has come about is quite interesting, because when we look at the migration of Africans generally, you will see that we are in all corners of the world. When I say we, I mean including myself. I'm a Black man. So we're in all corners of the world, and the issue, the incident that happened in Minneapolis is now a global issue. So it's really important to what we've been discussing at the Center of Excellence in Migration and Global Studies. And today we have a distinguished professor of history at the Western Carolina University in Callaway. Actually, I want to thank him immensely for at least coming and agreeing to make this presentation within a very, very short time. I only got in touch with him about this late on Saturday. As you all know, we are fully booked until end of July. Of course, things happen, and the person that was supposed to present today took ill, and we have to seek for an alternative instead of postponing. And that is why when Professor Saeed Adenito agreed to do this, I was so delighted. And that is why you see 1, 2, 3 emails, and then you will be wondering what's going on. That's exactly what is going on. I believe you all can see Professor Saeed Adenito in the classroom. He is a faculty, and I've known him for quite a while now. He will be talking to us about Blacks in Britain. And he will tell you the genesis of this particular work that is already published and some of his works, and then interrogate the issue of Blacks, in the global community, but with specificity of Britain from antiquity to the present day within 40 minutes. Professor Saeed Adenito is a graduate of the University of Ibadan, where he had his Bachelor of Arts honors in history in 2004, and I think he came top of the class. He got a scholarship, full scholarship, to study for the postgraduate studies in history, African history, and at the University of Texas, Austin, and he completed his PhD in 2010. Professor Saeed is a renowned scholar globally, and you can visit Western Carolina University website that I'm showing to all of you, sharing with you, to know more about him. But what is important is the fact that he sits on many editorial boards, and he regularly, in summer, conduct free mentoring along with others for upcoming postgraduate students, and also junior faculty members. You are free to reach out to him. You are free to email him and continue the friendship after this presentation. Professor Said Adenito is also the founding president of Lagos Studies Association. Lagos Studies Association is a multidisciplinary association. It means that it cuts across all disciplines, whether you're in the medicine, you're in law, you are in history, you are in sociology. So the composition is multidisciplinary, and you are also more than welcome to join the association. In fact, I am a member of the, I believe it's governing board of trustees or whatever, with some other leading historian. So we want to thank Professor Adenito for accepting to share his intellectual properties with us. Not properties, because I know a lot about him. I won't say much. He can amplify further if he chooses to. So Professor Said, you are on mute, and kindly do justice. While you're doing that, please, if you don't see PowerPoint, again, you have to understand that I only got in touch with him late on Saturday because the speaker for today took ill, but we must go on. So is it Joseph that I remembered and they're invited to the King's Palace? Thank you very much. Said, you are on. You have 40 minutes, please. Thank
okay. You. Yeah, good. I would like to thank Professor Tijani for inviting me to share my a little bit of knowledge that I have or that I know about the stories and cultural presence of Black people in Britain. I think Prof did not provide some background to the chapter because he actually edited the volume and I contributed a chapter in the book on Africa. The lecture itself, because the chapter on my presentation actually based on the chapter of a book that 2005, if I'm right, or 2000. Essentially, one should see presence in Europe or in Britain specifically as one of the numerous of African diasporas. Black physical and cultural press all over the world, in Europe, in North America, in Asia, and the Middle East. So the story of Black people in Britain should be seen as one of the numerous stories of Black people.
Sorry, your audio is breaking in and out. Dr. Adenito. He's actually reaching us from Ibadan. He's in Nigeria on the research, so he was called down by the lockdown. So you are breaking in and out, Said. We cannot hear you. Can you hear us? Dr.
I said that the presentation today is a chapter in a book that you edited on African diaspora. And that I'm able to talk about this topic today because you gave me the opportunity to write a chapter in the book you edited, and that should be around maybe approximately 10 years ago. So I'm happy to talk about Black people's physical and cultural presence in Britain. So I began by saying that the physical presence of Black people in Britain should be seen as one of the numerous forms of diasporas. In other words, Black people's presence in North America, Black people's presence in the Middle East, and Black people's presence in Asia. And what we know is that for centuries, Black people have been physically present not only in Europe, but of course in Britain. And it's easy to know why we would have a lot of Black people in Britain in pre-colonial times or in ancient times. Geographically, Europe is close to Africa when we look at it geographically. So it is very likely that Black people will be present in Britain, in ancient Britain. What we know is that historical accounts of the lives of Emperor Septimius Severus, who lived between AD 146 and 211, had information on Black people. And there's possibility that the earliest Black people in Britain came from North Africa because of the geographical closeness of North Africa to Britain during this period. There's also some evidence to prove that Black people were involved in the in the raidings of the Vikings, and this was around AD 862. But there's no concrete evidence that that the Vikings were involved in systemic form of enslavement or capturing of people of African origin as slaves. Be that as it may, we know that Black people were entertainers, were intellectuals in the British court in the 13th century. We know they were there. And of course, during this period, they contributed significantly to the cultural making of Britain, ancient Britain. And by the period between 1596 and 1601, the Black presence of population in Britain was large enough to cause what some people would consider to be some kinds of public acrimony or public unrest. So, and of course, during this period, some of them were not allowed to be converted into Christianity because of the assumption that conversion to Christianity automatically elevates them. And, you know, but of course, we're still going to be able to talk about it once we get to the story of the slave trade and slavery. So the notion that what you see outside shapes what you see inside was one of the main factors that determined how Black people were treated in Europe and Britain during this period. There's this assumption that Africans and Black people's physical appearance, their body, their look, their morphological appearance deviates from what was considered to be conventional. And so for most people during this period, Black people were aberrations. Aberration because of the fact that they don't look, they don't have the features of what some people define as beauty. But a turning point in the history of Black people in Britain took place during the era of the transatlantic slave trade. I wouldn't like to go too deep into the story of slave trade and slavery because this is high school or textbook history. But what we know is that Britain was also involved in the transatlantic slave trade, that is, the forceful capturing, you know, the enslavement of people of African origin from their original home in Africa to the Americas. And of course, a lot of Black people were not only taken to the Americas during this period. Some of them were actually enslaved in Britain. And the British form of slavery, we should know, is a little bit different from what you see in the plantation form of slavery in the Americas. That's its own unique features, but also truly very problematic. Of course, numerous ways in which Black people were represented. They were sold on the streets of London. They were auctioned on the street of London. Some of them worked as domestic slaves, and some of them also found themselves in different forms of manual and casual labor. One of the turning points in the history of Black people in Britain should be the story of the abolition of slave trade and slavery itself. From the late 18th century, significant political development in Britain and across the world propelled the British to begin to advocate for the abolition of slavery. So scholars have looked at two main reasons why slave trade and slavery were abolished. And this can be divided into two, the Marxist interpretation and of course the humanitarian interpretation. The Marxist interpretation or argument for the abolition of slave trade posits that by the late 18th century, the British was becoming the slave trade was becoming anachronistic for the British. You know, they pioneered the Industrial Revolution, which is the gradual replacement of human labor with machines. And because the British pioneered the Industrial Revolution, they were seeing human labor as becoming more and more anachronistic. That is, becoming more and more in tune, out of tune with the reality of time. And that the British abolished slave trade and slavery not because they decided to be nice, not because they were benevolent, not because they were generous in terms of their moral perception about slavery, also because they discovered that slave trade and slavery was not economically viable. And of course, it was probably better for Black people to be allowed to remain in their own continent and for them to be producing raw materials that can then be used to service the industries that were springing up across Britain during this period. So the Marxist interpretation of slave trade and slavery argued that the transformation of European attitude towards Black people's labor is a product of the transformation of the mode of production. And this transformation is what propelled economics to say that instead of going to Africa to capture people, why don't we allow Africans to stay back home and, of course, allow them to produce raw materials that can then be shipped to Europe and Britain and then converted into finished product, which can then be returned back to Africa as industrial goods. The second argument is the humanitarian argument. And actually, the humanitarian argument was in vogue for a very long time. And this argument is simple, that Christian evangelicals suddenly discovered that the enslavement of one human by another human is morally irresponsible, it's morally wrong, and that all humans are created free. The main argument against the humanitarian argument is that why did it take the church this long to come to realize that Black people's enslavement is criminal, unholy, and morally incorrect? Why at that particular point in time, when Britain was already on its verge of becoming a global industrial power? But what we know is that the pressure by the humanitarian was huge enough. And this was also going on intellectually. It was not just about people fighting the government and asking the government to abolish slavery. It also involved some intellectual work. And one of those who provided the intellectual weapon for the abolition of slavery, who was also a Christian, somebody associated with the church, was Reader Gustavo Bassa. He wrote his biography, published around 1789. That should be the year the French Revolution broke out. And he is considered to be arguably the first black person to write an autobiography. And he detailed his experience. He detailed his experience, his agony of slave trade and slavery. And that autobiography provided the intellectual weapon for Christians who thought that slave trade and slavery was morally wrong. And because this period we're talking about is not just the British affair anyway, there's a cultural and artistic movement of ideas. So what was going on in North America was shaping the Caribbean. What was going on in the Caribbean was influencing South America. And of course, Africa was at the center of this narrative. So when we're talking about Black people in Britain at this point in time, it's not just the unique political and economic structure about Britain, it's also about global development. So that Equiano was traveled all over the world, and his cultural impact, the impact of his autobiography was felt not only in North America, where he spent a lot of his time, but of course in Britain. And the abolitionists, as these people would be known, provided a significant intellectual push for the abolition of slavery. Now, as we continue, we need to be able to differentiate between abolition of slave trade and abolition of slavery. The abolition of slave trade is the outlawing of the physical movement of people of African origin from Africa to Europe, from Africa to North America. It also involves some kinds of intra-colonial movement, okay? So movement within the British colonies, movement within Britain, movement within Europe, intercontinental or intra-continental forms of movement. But when we talk about slavery, that is the institution of servitude, right? The institution that actually puts one human in the hand of another human for maximum control, the violence itself. And so it is impossible to outlaw slave trade without outlawing slavery, because the trade in humans itself and the institutions that enslave humans are closely connected. And for you to achieve the two, they have to go and englobe. So the slave trade was the first thing that actually, abolition of slavery was arguably the first push. And the British, because they were the most powerful naval country at this point in time, were able to begin to force fellow Europeans to stop the trafficking of people of African origin from Africa to the Americas or Europe. Of course, we should be able to identify some important terminologies, right? People don't become slaves until they get to a place where they are enslaved. So the people that, the black people that the British, the French, the Portuguese, the Spaniards captured were not slaves. They were Africans, they were humans. It is only when they get to the plantation that the cultural, legal, political, and economic activities transform them into something human. So Europeans did not go to Africa to capture slaves. They went to Africa to capture humans. And this is really very fundamental as we look at the place of Britain in the abolition of slavery. A major turning point in the history of black people presence in Britain is the period of Back to Africa. It became apparent to the abolitionists, the church people, that there is a way through which black people can actually be resettled home, quote unquote. And so in the year 1789, 400 Africans were resettled in a place called Freetown in Sierra Leone. And this was a push, the whole idea of trying to help black people deal with the violence of slavery by taking them away from their artificial home and resettling them in their original home. Now, this is problematic on numerous grounds. One, some people have argued that the resettling of Africa, that is the so-called Back to Africa movement, by the white church, okay, is an attempt to purge Britain of its black population. So it wasn't because the church were nice or just humanitarian. It's basically because they just figuring out a way to make sure that they can remove some black population. Be that as it may, what we know is that this process of gradual resettling of Africans, both the ones in Europe and Britain and those captured on their way or recaptured on their way to the Americas, ushered in a major turning point in West African cultural history, because this laid the foundation of Christianity in the west coast of Africa. And Christianity paved the way for the rise of the first generation of educated Africans. That is, Africans literate in Western education. Africans literate in Western education. The other argument about the question of Back to Africa is that we're in Africa. Africans don't identify to a large extent about the continent where they come from. They identify with their immediate ethnicity, with their immediate community, with their immediate ethno-religious cleavage. So the whole concept of just indiscriminately taking everybody from Europe or indiscriminately capturing a slave ship en route to North America and taking everyone back to Sierra Leone or taking everyone back to Monrovia, like what the Americans did. It's very insensitive to how ethno-religious identity shapes the way people position themselves. So the fact that they are black and from Africa does not mean all of them are from Sierra Leone. Doesn't mean they would like to be in a particular place. And that is why when some of them arrived in Freetown, what they began to do was not to stay in Freetown. They began to search for their original home. And the search for their original home paved the way for the inroad of the first generation of Africans who became Christian and, of course, introduced Western education to their community. The point I'm trying to make here is that in talking about Black people in Britain, we're not just talking about the physical and cultural presence of Black people in continental Europe or in the geographical entity called Britain. Numerous political, economic, and cultural ideas and ideals, philosophies were in circulation. And the circulation of ideas about freedom, about morality, was shaping the physical presence, the identity and the physical presence of Black people in Britain, as well as the transformation of ideas, the ideas that people take as they move from one location to another. So that a lot of Black people in the Caribbean were also coming back to Britain. So it is possible for Black people to be first enslaved in the Caribbean and spend 1 or 2 or 5 years or even 10 years, or even live all their own life there, then resettle to Britain. So the movement we're talking about is not just the movement directly from Africa to Britain. We're also talking about movement within colonial outposts, right? So Black people who were living formerly in France and found themselves now living in Britain. Black people who were living formerly in North America, who were enslaved in the southern fringes of North America, now finding themselves in Britain. Black people in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, who were enslaved in the Caribbean, who had generations upon generations. So when we go to Britain today, what we see in Britain today is multiple forms of Blackness, Africanities. And this is the product of the diverse identities of Black people who found themselves in Britain as a result of many circumstances. What we know, regardless of the debate about why slave trade and slavery were abolished, is that by the late 19th century, we can conveniently say that the forceful transformation of Black people from Africa to Europe was done. And slavery, the way we know it, was done. But this period also ushered in colonization. And the colonization of Africa is actually an argument. I mean, the argument for the colonization of Africa backs up the argument by the Marxists. The Marxist argument that slave trade and slavery were abolished because Britain needed raw materials to service its industry, it became accurate that now that you have colonies, and the colonies are going to serve one thing, they're just going to serve as site of capitalist expropriation, where you go and just take resources without investing much. Then you return. The British at this point in time knew exactly what they were doing, right? They lost their colonies in North America. They lost their colonies in the whole of the Americas. And so the colonization of Africa was a unique form of colonization, a colonization that had to do with putting little and extracting a lot. And so the British would end slavery and slavery only to replace slavery and slavery with colonization. The period of colonialism, which is roughly between the 1880s and the 1990s and the 1960s, in most parts of Africa, paved the way for new forms of migration. See, the Black people of African origin that would go to Britain between the 1880s and the 1960s would go there as colonial subjects. And being a colonial subject comes with a whole paraphernalia of identity, a whole paraphernalia of rights and privileges, and of course, a whole paraphernalia of limitations and restrictions. So on the one hand, those who are going now from the 1880s would go mostly as the children of highly educated missionaries who went to Britain to acquire national education, and they would return. But not all of them would return. And in going to Britain at this point in time, they were going because of the notion that Britain is the center of human civilization. Because one of the foundations, one of the theories, one of the arguments, one of the justifications for why Africa was colonized is that the British, the French, the Portuguese, the Spaniards were of our civilization. So Africans, the first set of Africans who were going to Britain during the colonial period were associated with the church. They were children of elites who had been converted to Christianity, and they were going for one principal reason: acquiring additional education to serve not only the church, but the colonial government. Again, some of them would return, like Albert Macaulay, but most of them would not return. Now, those who returned and those who did not return created different identities, not only for Britain, but also for Africa. Those who return will return and become rebels, right? And they will change their name. The first wave of cultural nationalism in West Africa took place because some Black people who went to Britain as colonial subject of British colonies, right, discovered that the whole idea of civilization is a scam, right? So, and they would return to their respective colonies with ideas not only of political freedom, but ideas of cultural emancipation. And that is why, again, going back to the point I was making, when we're talking about Black people's physical and cultural presence in Europe, it's a circulation of ideas and ideologies, right? It's not just the permanent physical presence of Black people in Britain. This movement was always in a state of flux, so that a Black person in Britain today, living there for about 30 years, would actually move to Europe, move to somewhere else in Europe, would actually move to North America, and of course come to Africa. And so the physical and cultural movement of people was shaping not only how Africa was positioning itself within European cultural formation, but the impact of European ideas about civilization on Africa, especially the first generation of educated Africa. So some of them were returning again, but some of them would not return. And that is, we have to understand that. Those who stayed long enough formed one of the most profound associations of African origin in Britain, the West African Students' Union. Hakim Adi, who is a historian, is actually the most qualified person to talk about this. He's a professor in Britain. He has done extensive work. He's a Black professor, a professor of African origin, who has written extensively on the West African Students' Union. And of course, many books on Lagos, many books on history of Christianity, many books on the history of education. It's difficult for you to read a book on the history of education in West Africa without reference to the West African Student Union. The West African Student Union, which again was the association of the Africans in diaspora, educated who were students, right? Was fundamental again in helping to propel some element of radical nationalism in Africa, because they would come back. They would come to their colonies, return to their colonies to lead the first generation of cultural nationalism and political nationalism. Like I said, the first form of nationalism that we know in the late 19th century was cultural nationalism. People who had been converted to Christianity coming back and fighting Christianity. And these were also the first people who introduced African churches. The birth of African churches was possible because some Africans went to Britain, they got angry because they discovered the racist dimension to Christianity. Then they initiated the first form of cultural nationalism, which involves changing your name from European names to African names, which involves dressing, and which involves a kind of a cultural renaissance. The second form of nationalism is the political nationalism. And that is where the West African Student Union's impact was really fundamental. They would return back to after their education to take up leading political and administrative roles. And these roles would allow them to have the intellectual license, the intellectual power to effectively challenge the basis of colonialism. So the death, the gradual demise of colonialism in British colonies in Nigeria, in the Gold Coast, which later became Ghana, in Sierra Leone, in Kenya, is a product of this circulation of ideas taking place between Africa and Britain. And it's a product of the fact that some Black people who lived in Britain acquired enough intellectual power to challenge the basis of colonial domination. And that was up to the 1960s. After the 1960s, we know what transpired in the 1960s in most part of Africa. Independence, decolonization took place. And the new generations, those who will be going now after the 1960s, would go for reasons that others went, the reasons why their predecessors went, which of course is education. But they would also go because of a unique form of crisis that African countries encountered during the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. From the 1960s, we know the crisis of the Civil War, not only in Nigeria, but of course, coup d'etat even in Ghana. And from the 1980s, we know what transpired. The structural adjustment program that the IMF imposed or forced many African countries, that African countries are still fighting today. And this economic crisis inevitably shaped or propelled new forms of migration. So the generation that we're living after the 1960s would go to acquire education, but most of them would be unique form of migrant. And this form of migration would be defined as economic form of migration, people in search of greener pasture. We cannot understand the history of Black people in Britain today without understanding a transformation in British immigration laws. As more and more Black people from Kenya, predominantly from former British colony, were finding themselves in the United Kingdom today, new forms of immigration and anti-immigration was going on. And we see that with the current political dispensation that is really anti-immigration. So in a nutshell, because I didn't want us to have time to have questions back and forth, what I've just tried to do now is to trace the history and the physical and cultural presence of Black people in Britain from the ancient times. What we know is that before the transatlantic slave trade in the 16th and 17th century, Black people were present in Britain. Their presence is easy to understand, the justification. Britain, like Europe, the entire continent of Europe, is geographically close to Africa. The earliest Black people in Britain were not slaves. In fact, some of them were diplomats, some of them were intellectuals, some of them were entertainers. We know that they found their ways into the mainstream British society and culture. However, during the period of transatlantic slave trade, the identity and the modus operandi of Black people's presence in Britain changed significantly. They began to be seen as items of trade. And like I said earlier, humans don't become a slave until when they get to a place that enslaves them. So the British did not go to Africa to get slaves. They went to Africa to capture the humans. They trafficked in humans. And so the period of slave trade and slavery was a major period of transformation. The identity became really very bad. Humans were treated like items of trade, sold on the street of Europe and sold on the street of Britain. Most of them were domestic slaves. By the late 18th century, a combination of humanitarian and capitalist identity was a capitalist interpretation shaped why the slave trade and slavery was abolished. As I said earlier, there's a difference between slave trade and slavery. The slave trade is the buying and selling of human across physical and geography. Slavery is the institution, the cultural, the political, the economic institutions that actually enslave humans. So slavery has more a kind of an unending legacy, and we still see that legacy manifested even in America today. But slave trade itself could be defined basically as a violence. And of course, some people would argue that slave trade has not ended because human trafficking is actually the new form of slave trade. So the point in emphasis is that from the late 18th century, the humanitarians, predominantly Christians, began to push for the abolition of slave trade and slavery. And people have argued, why did it take you this long to know that this thing is morally bankrupt? Why is the church not doing this earlier? And this was the argument of the Marxists. Marxists who felt that no, Britain decided to abolish slave trade and slavery because it is anachronistic. no more in tune with the realities of time because the British spearheaded the Industrial Revolution. So then, of course, the next era. So the next era, like I said, the era of abolition of slavery, followed by the era of colonialism, which brought Black people new forms of migration anyway, without destroying the old. People going to Britain now as colonial subject. Then again, after independence, we now have a new generation. Mostly people going because of the economic impact of the structural adjustment program. And the last but not the least, the point is that we cannot understand the history of Black people's physical presence in Britain today without understanding the new immigration policies. And the new immigration policies have significant implications on the survival and the cultural impact of Black people in Britain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adeola. We appreciate you for presenting to us and agreeing to be with us within a short period. I think I'm going to fire the first question that I want you to speak about. And it's kind of a phrase that either you agree or you disagree. The trajectory history of Blacks in Britain or even globally, would you consider it as a triple heritage or triple jeopardy? The experiences of Blacks globally, whether from antiquity, present, would you consider it as a triple heritage, quote unquote, triple jeopardy? That is my own phrase. Thank you. And I'm going to unmute everyone, but please, if you have dogs, just make sure they are away and no distraction. Professor Olaniyi, I believe Ibadan, University of Ibadan, you said you would like to speak. Kindly go ahead. Okay, I'm going to allow everyone to be able to unmute themselves. Professor Olaniyi, you have the floor. And then followed by Dr. Yebode. Professor Olaniyi, unmute yourself. Okay, you are on mute. We can't hear you. Professor Olaniyi, you have the floor. Rasheed.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Can hear you now.
Okay. Thank you very much, moderator. I also thank the speaker for the thoroughness of his presentation. My question has to do with racism. How do we understand the nature and, of course, the origin of racism against the Blacks in Britain? I raise this question because almost everywhere. Hello, are you hearing me?
We can hear you. Make it snappy. 1 minute.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Almost everywhere we have Blacks in the diaspora, in Arabia, in Asia, everywhere. So what was the nature of racism ahead of the transatlantic slave trade? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, after Dr. Yebode, Dr. Adams, you will go, and then we allow Dr. Adeola to respond, and then we take the next comment. Okay. So please, if you like to make a comment or question, just chat with me, or you raise your hand while I flip through the picture. So, Dr. Yebode, less than 1 minute.
Yeah, my question has to do with whether Blacks in Europe or Britain now are still in slavery or not.
Okay.
Whether slavery or the historic slave trade are capturing of Blacks.
Okay.
And again, are Blacks really integrated into the British society?
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Adams, unmute yourself if I've not unmute you, yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me appreciate Professor Said for this wonderful presentation. Let me just read these two questions. The first one is, are we actually black? We Africans, or we are blacks? I mean, I told you yesterday that I am not a black man. That, you know, Professor Said, I know him very well. Not a black man either. The first consciousness of Africans is this question of identity. I think we need to deal with that. So I'm asking you, Professor Adeola, we blacks, or is what this book calls us, that we call ourselves?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sir, let me just show this one, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, the idea of civilization mission of the European, if we call it a scam. So what we take the stock of decolonization and self-governance. What do we call it? If we take a stock of decolonization and self-governance, what do you call it? Is that not also a scam? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. I think I have a Dr. Oguche. Are you trying to raise up your hand? Dr. Oguche, can you hear us? Dr. Adeola, are you trying to ask a question too? You can unmute yourself. No? Okay. So Dr. Adeola, please go ahead. Oh, is Dr. Afolanrisho trying to raise up her hand? No. Okay. So Dr. Adeola, please go ahead and respond. Okay. Sorry. I can see one hand. Dr. Sani Ismaila Umar. Please unmute yourself. You can speak. And then we allow Dr. Adeola to respond. Sonny. Okay, let me see if I can. You can unmute yourself. Dr. Omar. Sonny Omar, okay. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, this is Sani Ismail, admin of SAT2. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Go ahead, sir. Ask your question, please.
Hello?
Dr. Sonny, we can hear you. Can you ask your question, please?
Well, sir. So, my suggestion is, does the prof didn't see this black and as anything to, hello?
We are hearing you, sir. Go ahead, we can hear you, Dr. Sonny. Dr. Mwabwese, can you unmute yourself? I've been trying to unmute you. You'll be the last speaker.
Okay, good morning.
Okay, go ahead. Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, colleagues. Yes, my question about is the issue of the people that came to Britain before the colonization issue started. I know that from history, I've heard that the Oba of Benin used to send the children there. Is that true? And if it is so, what was the status there? Okay. Then again, so the issue of identity, somebody raised that issue. I think it's also important. I think first and foremost, we are actually, from wherever we are, Africa is so broad. No Englishman will call me, say, a European first. He calls himself an Englishman. So why are we bent on calling ourselves Africans rather than calling ourselves, maybe I'm an Edo person, I'm an Igbo person, and a Nigerian, instead of that? So those are the two things I have to ask. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Adegoke, please go ahead. Adegoke, unmute yourself, sir. Unmute yourself. Okay, make it snappy, Dr. Adegoke, go ahead.
Yeah. I want to thank Professor Said for that brilliant presentation. My own question is this: what is the difference between French acculturation and integration of British system?
Okay.
That's my question.
So
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Professor Said, go ahead now.
Yeah, thank you so much for your questions. I consider some of these questions like
Dr. Said. Dr. Said. Yeah, please hold on. I have to take this. These are, I have one of my ogas, Professor Okagbare. Can you unmute yourself, please? And then speak. Let's listen to Professor Okagbare. He's one of our most senior person on the platform. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. The presenter, you've done a good job, but I just want to ask, what will be your advice to the young Africans who are every day migrating to Europe in search of greener pastures? Thank you.
Thank you. Now you can go ahead, Dr. Said.
I think I would consider my response in the form of going to a market. No single road leads to a market. Yoruba would say on the Conwoja. And that's the best way to understand interpretation of knowledge, because knowledge itself takes different forms in different shapes, in different circumstances, different interpretation. That is why the question of blackness, for example, is going to be difficult to answer, because it's not just about the physical presence of people, it's also the politics that shapes how people self-identify. So it will be difficult for anyone to say that which one is more important. Is it being an African or being black? Because the way individuals and groups would like to identify is a function of the socio-political and economic and cultural landscape of the environment in which they find themselves. So while it may be politically expedient for some people to identify themselves as Yoruba during a particular point in time, it may actually be better for them to self-identify as Africans in some other location. And when the same people find themselves in another location, they would not identify themselves as Africans, they would identify themselves as black. So blackness, Africanness, ethnicity, Yorubaness, all these identities are loaded with meanings. And these meanings are difficult to define in absolute terms because they're not just private, personal interpretation of identities, they are also the identities that are always in a state of flux. So sometimes it may be better for people to identify themselves. For example, I'm a Nigerian American. I'm an American citizen. And I've been identified many times as Black American, sometimes as African American, and sometimes as Nigerian American, and sometimes as Nigerian. So all these paraphernalia of identities are loaded with cultural meanings, and cultural meanings have political implications, and political implications have different ways of looking at access and limitations, so that these things can actually provide opportunities while also limiting your access to certain privileges and opportunities. So the point in emphasis is that like I said at the beginning, knowledge is like a marketplace. No single road leads to it. And in answering this question, I would not want to be terminated because of the fact that it is about social interpretations of identity, about how people would like to identify themselves. So the question of origin of can you hear me?
We can hear you. We just have some. Go ahead, please.
So the question of origin of racism, we know that racism itself is not a monolithic form of humanity to others. What constitutes racism has always changed over time. And there's no universal conception of racism. What we know is that what unifies all forms of racism is acute inequality, acute injustice imposed by one group on another group as a result of their own construction of difference. In other words, the British form of racism people have had is different from the form of racism you see in America. And some people in Canada would say that there's no racism in Canada. There's a form of institutionalized racism in Canada. And of course, in Brazil, it's a different ball game entirely. So the point in emphasis is that racism itself has taken different shapes over time in accordance with location, in accordance with prevailing politics. What has not changed about racism is that it involves violations of the rights of one human by another human as a result of artificially constructed difference. And this artificial constructed difference has to do with the color of human skin and how people look, how they speak, and of course, the genealogy of their own families, the foundation of their own existence. So the question about should young people go to Europe, we can stop migration. What I would advocate is regular migration, legitimate migration. So migration, for example, for education. There's just no way any human can stop migration. It's not just possible. And we can't tell people not to move. See, this is about individuals' preferences, family preferences, family decisions. And so the question of young people migrating, the questions at stake is going to be, why are they going? And the question is going to be, are they going legitimately? I would want a form of a migration that has to do with acquisition of skill. Because in this 21st century, whether you live in Africa or you live in Nigeria or you live in Europe or you live in North America, there is a way through which knowledge can be transmitted at a very unprecedented level. So the question of brain drain is actually not there. I mean, to a large extent, we now have brain gain. And so we can't say that people should not move. We can't say the first class student will not move. If UI is not going to give full scholarship to all the true undergraduates, then there's no reason for you to tell them not to move. The same applies to that institution. If there's no future for them, you can't tell people not to move and get better opportunities. So that is how I would. So I would advocate for legitimate migration. Migration that is based on acquisition of skill that can be useful not only for the individual, but of course for their family. Let me see if I have other. Okay,
thank you very much. Before you respond to the rest, if you have any, I have two people, because we will need to stop at 12. I promise Professor Emeritus Sogolo that I will not exceed 12 noon. So I want to keep to my word. I don't want to get queried for this or some tongue lashing for this. You know, I'll take 3 people, and they should please limit it to like 30 seconds, straight to the point. HOD Masscom, Dr. Onwobiri. HOD Development Studies, Dr. Rakiya Mamman. And I think I saw one person now. I can't find that person anymore. I think the Dean of Law wanted to ask a question. If you would like to also join them. No, he said no. Okay. So those two, please make it 30 seconds so that the guest presenter can respond, and then we round up at exactly 12 noon. Thank you very much. Dr. Onwobiri. Dr. Rakiya.
Yes, I am myself. Can you hear me, sir?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah,
yes,
thank you. Thank you very much, Prof, for this opportunity. I want to join others in thanking our visitor who came from outside here to present to us. But like I said earlier on, I couldn't actually access this seminar, and I actually looked up for it. I want to humbly request that somebody should please summarize the key facts of this seminar and put it on the platform so that other people who have the same problem with me can also enjoy, so that we can read through and benefit from the presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I will personally send out, as usual, the article and as well as the synopsis that the presenter will send to me. Dr. Rakiya?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And actually, my question is a follow-up to the last question you answered, because you made a reference to the labor dimension of migration. I thought that with the general overall motif of your presentation, surely some insight from the Windrush scandal may well need some highlighting, particularly because you kept referring to not conflating present immigration policy in the UK with the whole historical context that you very well laid out in your presentation. So to just cut through the chase, we might continue this on the platform, on the WhatsApp platform. But can you share your thought also on your insight probably on the kind of failures the Windrush scandal exposes within skilled labor migration, particularly to the UK? Thank you very much. We'll continue the rest on the WhatsApp platform.
Thank you very much. So, Professor Said Adenito, you can respond within 1 minute.
Yeah, I think migration itself is a paradox. On the one hand, it has significant implications for how families are able to raise the basic resources they need to feed their own community. So we can't stop people from migrating if they can't find the resources to take care of their family. On the other hand, we know that some countries like Rwanda, like Malawi, we have more medical doctors of Malawian origin in Britain, even than in Malawi. So, so it's a difficult balance to maintain in the questions of where is people's best, where should people be? Where should people be, whether they should be home in Africa or whether they should be where they would like to maximize the opportunities presented in the new communities, should be a private, personal discussion. To label it, for us to sit here and argue that Africans are best served, or it's best for Africans to be home and working hard to develop their own country, is like we are being hegemonic in our own interpretation of individual choices and freedom. But we can have these conversations, and these conversations are going to be unending, because it has more to do with individual ways of thinking about how to deal with individual problems. Against the question of Africanness, where should you be? Should you be African? And against nationality, ethnic nationality, do you respect your country's progress more than the country, or do you prefer your country to have significant progress compared to another country that you have adopted? Oh, so it's emotional. And so that is why knowledge is very interesting. And like I said at the beginning, there's no single way to approach all these dimensions, all these paradigms, because for me, it's more like a market, and there's no single route to go into the market.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adenito.
He didn't answer my question, Prof.
The Windrush, okay.
I asked very specific. I mean, I just thought you should talk about it. As you probably know, the Windrush scandal also affects many Nigerians. And today it is viewed as the most disgraceful, indispensable, international shame of Britain's treatment of migrants in contemporary memory. So I think we should talk about that. I think you should highlight that, because you are from that end. I think this is something that would help the center to articulate the kind of policy that government is struggling to deal with in terms of foreign policy and interacting with this kinds of migration issues. I know so many countries have been apologized to for this scandal. I don't know, do you know if Nigeria has been apologized to for what has happened in the Windrush? Thank you very much. Like I said, we'll continue this conversation on the WhatsApp platform. Thank you.
Yeah, I will add Dr. Adenito on that. Or do you have a response, quick one?
I agree that it's shameful. I mean, any form of policy that systematically isolate and identify a group for institutional punishment should be condemned. And so, maybe because I was willing, so going back to the question, any form, and this is not unique to Britain. I mean, we see it in the United States now. At every point in time, new forms of anxiety propelled by cultural nationalism or the so-called host country leads to new forms of labor laws. And these labor laws would always violate the rights of minorities. And the minorities would always be highly skilled, mostly highly skilled people who are not from the so-called host country. So any form of labor migration that selectively punishes a group because of their place of origin should never be tolerated and should be considered as a national, of course, global embarrassment.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adenrito. I want to thank all of you for at least joining today, spending your money to buy data, and fueling your generator to be with us and share your experiences with us. Again, we will see you next week on Monday, and this will be uploaded on YouTube. I will continue the conversation on WhatsApp or Telegram, and I will add Professor Adenrito on that group so that this issue of windrush can be further debated. Thank you very much and stay blessed. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.